Chapter 1. The Apprentice. Wren had lived with the Witch of Thornwood forest since she was 7 years old. Her parents had abandoned her at the edge of the trees, too poor to feed another mouth. The witch, whose name was Agatha, had found her shivering in the rain and brought her home. Now Wren was 17, and she could barely light a candle with magic. "Concentrate," Agatha instructed, her silver hair floating around her face like moonlight. "Feel the energy flowing through you." Wren stared at the candle wick, trying to summon fire. Her fingertips tingled. A spark flickered, then died. "I can't do it," she said, frustrated. "You can. You're just afraid." "Afraid of what? It's a candle." Agatha smiled mysteriously. "You're afraid of what you might become if you truly let go." Wren didn't understand. She helped Agatha brew potions, tend the magical garden, and heal sick animals from the village. But real magic, the kind that could move mountains and summon storms, remained beyond her reach. That night, she walked through the forest alone. The trees whispered to her, as they always did. Fireflies danced around her head. A fox followed at a distance, curious and unafraid. Wren had always felt connected to Thornwood. The forest seemed to breathe with her, its heart beating in rhythm with her own. But she had never questioned why. As she reached the ancient oak at the forest center, she heard something strange. A voice, deep and dark, echoing from somewhere underground. "She's almost ready," the voice said. "Soon we will be free." Wren ran home without looking back. Something was coming, something that had been waiting for a very long time. Chapter 2. Dark Omens. The next morning, Wren told Agatha what she had heard. The old witch's face turned pale. "Show me where," she demanded. They walked together to the ancient oak. Agatha placed her hands on the bark and closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were filled with fear. "The seal is weakening," she whispered. "I knew this day would come, but I hoped I would have more time." "What seal? What are you talking about?" Agatha sat down on a twisted root and sighed heavily. "Sit, child. It's time you learned the truth." She told Wren about the Shadow King, an ancient being of pure darkness who had ruled these lands thousands of years ago. The first witches had banded together to imprison him beneath Thornwood, using their combined power to create a seal that could hold him for eternity. "But seals fade," Agatha explained. "Each generation of witches must renew it. I've been doing it alone for 60 years. But I'm growing weak, Wren. I won't be able to hold him much longer." "Then teach me. I'll help you." Agatha shook her head. "You don't understand. The seal requires more than ordinary magic. It requires the power of a Thornwood witch, someone born of the forest itself." Wren felt cold. "What do you mean, born of the forest? Your parents didn't abandon you, child. You never had parents. The forest created you 17 years ago to be its protector. You are not my apprentice. You are my replacement." The world spun around Wren. Everything she believed about herself was a lie. She wasn't human at all. She was something else entirely. Chapter 3. Awakening. For 3 days, Wren refused to leave her room. She couldn't accept what Agatha had told her. If she wasn't human, what was she? A monster? A spirit? A tool created for a single purpose? On the fourth day, the forest began to die. It started at the edges, trees turning black, flowers withering, animals fleeing in terror. The darkness spread inward like a disease, consuming everything in its path. Agatha collapsed at the entrance to their cottage. "He's breaking free," she gasped. "The seal is almost gone." Wren knelt beside her. "Tell me what to do, please." "You must go to the ancient oak. Place your hands on the bark and open your heart to the forest. Let it flow through you. Let it become you." "I'm scared." "I know, child." Agatha touched her cheek with a trembling hand. "But you were made for this. Trust yourself." Wren ran through the dying forest. Dead leaves crumbled under her feet. The whispers of the trees were now screams of pain. The darkness was closing in from all sides. She reached the ancient oak just as the ground began to crack. Black smoke poured from beneath, taking shape, forming a figure of shadow and malice. The Shadow King laughed. "A child? They sent a child to stop me?" Wren placed her hands on the oak's bark. She felt nothing at first, only fear and doubt. But then she remembered Agatha's words, "Open your heart." She stopped fighting. She stopped questioning. She simply let go. And the power of 10,000 years flooded through her veins. Chapter 4. The Battle. Light exploded from Wren's hands, green and gold and blazing with life. The forest's energy poured through her like a river breaking through a dam. She could feel every tree, every creature, every blade of grass. They were all part of her, and she was part of them. The Shadow King recoiled from the light. "Impossible. The witches are gone. Their power died centuries ago." "I am not a witch," Wren said, her voice echoing with 1,000 whispers. "I am Thornwood." She raised her hands, and vines erupted from the ground, wrapping around the shadow creature. He screamed and tore through them, but more grew to replace them. Trees bent their branches to cage him. Roots rose to bind his feet. "You cannot destroy me," he roared. "I am eternal. I am darkness itself." "Darkness is just the absence of light." Wren stepped forward, glowing like a star. "And I have plenty of light." She pressed her palm against his chest. The Shadow King screamed as golden fire spread through his form. He thrashed and fought, but Wren held on, pouring every ounce of power into the attack. The battle lasted hours, or seconds, Wren couldn't tell. Time lost meaning in that blinding moment of pure energy. She was no longer a frightened girl. She was the forest's heart, its guardian, its eternal protector. Finally, with a sound like thunder, the Shadow King exploded into 1,000,000 fragments of darkness. The pieces scattered into the wind and dissolved into nothing. The seal reformed, stronger than ever before. And Wren collapsed, exhausted but triumphant. Chapter 5. New Beginnings. Wren woke in her own bed, sunlight streaming through the window. Birds sang outside. The smell of Agatha's herbal tea filled the cottage. "You've been asleep for 5 days," Agatha said, helping her sit up. "The forest is healing. You saved us all." "I remember," Wren whispered. "I remember everything." She could still feel the forest inside her, a constant presence, like a second heartbeat. When she looked at her hands, faint green lines glowed beneath her skin. She was changed forever. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now you learn to control your power. Now you become who you were always meant to be." Over the following months, Wren mastered abilities she had never imagined. She could speak to animals, heal wounds with a touch, and make flowers bloom in winter. She could step into any tree and emerge from another miles away. The forest obeyed her every command. But she never forgot she was human in the ways that mattered. She still laughed at Agatha's terrible jokes. She still cried at sad stories. She still dreamed of love and adventure and belonging. One evening, as autumn painted the leaves in red and gold, Wren climbed to the top of the ancient oak and watched the sunset. "Thank you," she whispered to the forest, "for creating me, for trusting me." The trees rustled in response, a gentle embrace of wind and leaves. Somewhere, a nightingale began to sing. Wren smiled. She had spent her whole life searching for her place in the world. Now she knew the truth. Her place was here, protecting the magic that protected everyone else. She was the Witch of Thornwood, and this was only the beginning.